Speaking of the impact of the internet on societies, you advised the government in your 1994 report, Realizing the Information Future, the Internet and Beyond. What are some of the ideas that you proposed?
You've done your homework. Very good. We looked at a variety of issues. We looked at technology issues, we looked at ethics, privacy, business, etc. One of the key things we pointed out was that the success of the internet came about because it removed the push for stovepipe technologies. The stovepipe technology is a limited application. A good example was the paging network for email pages or for just voice pages. The people with that paging capability sold you the device, they sold you the spectrum, they sold you the service. And all that paging spectrum can be used for was pages, voice paging. That's a bad idea, because that same spectrum can be used for other things, and now it's used for email, for example. So the idea we observed is that the internet architecture is a kind of an hourglass structure, where at the narrow waist is a very small set of standards that have to be obeyed by any device connecting to the internet. That layer is called IP, the Internet Protocol. And all IP does is two things. It tells you how to manage naming or addresses, and the other thing, it talks about a quality of service. And the particular quality of service the internet gave was best effort. Now, as long as you obey that standard, then any underlying communications technology can be used by any overlaying application offering. So an application gets created, it says, I need bandwidth of so much, with this delay tolerance, with this jitter, with this quality of service, and any one of these technologies of communication that can offer that can be connected together. And all of these communication services are offering themselves to all the applications. There's no one-to-one, it's any-to-any. And why? Because there's a narrow waist where they all talk the same language at one critical point. By doing that, we made sure we did not preclude any applications or services that we couldn't anticipate at the point when the internet was created. And so all these new applications are riding on the internet with no trouble. You know, many of the things you see, the web was not anticipated ahead of time, had no trouble riding on the internet, okay? E-business just rides on the internet. So that's a very important message, to create a system which doesn't lock in a standard which precludes possible futures. Now, the other things we talked about were ethics. I mean, how do you teach people ethics so that they won't spam or send out worms or denial of service? There's no silver bullet. The best you can do is the way our parents do. You teach your children good behavior, and you hope they behave well when they grow up. The trouble is that the internet makes it far too easy for one or two misguided people to cause tremendous harm. And that's the dark side of the internet. And we talked about that. The thing which enables the dark side to be so dangerous in the internet, there's a number of things. One, it's the enormous degree of anonymity that you get. You can sit in your bedroom and reach out to the world. You give access to hundreds of millions of people easily and anonymously at no cost and unable to be tracked. So people who are wrong-headed take advantage of that. We talked about that. How to prevent that? Just teaching good behavior, having some mechanism by which you can discipline. That's a really hard one. Privacy, we concluded privacy is lost. Your privacy is gone, okay? If you carry a cell phone, you're being tracked. Every time you charge something on a credit card, you're being tracked. You carry an RFID tag around, you're being tracked. You have a Wi-Fi card, we know where we are. In my mind, the only attempt to have any privacy these days is to go to the edge of the ocean, strip naked, and dive in, and hope there's no sonar down there tracking you. So privacy issue is, again, a nasty one. We talked about the role of government. What was the role of government in this internet development? What should it be? And the answer was not control, not regulate, but rather provide a forum for the stakeholders to interact and get their opinions expressed and eventually disputes resolved. to provide the form and the mechanism, but not the control and the regulation. So these are some of the things we put into that report. It was a very effective report, and we actually spoke to a number of corporations and a number of different congressional units and government bodies, and it was very well accepted. There was a report before that, perhaps you know, in 1988. It was the first report out of the Computer Science and Telecommunications Board. It was called Towards a National Research Network. And it's that report which launched the gigabit testbeds and got Al Gore involved. I testified for then Senator Al Gore about that report. And there we were just talking about what the internet could become if we gave it greater bandwidth and used it for research and education as a research and education network.